I'm James Fitzgerald, former member of the Newark, New Jersey Police Department. Currently, I'm serving as the National Field Director for the John Birch Society. I'm here to inform you of a growing problem that will soon have a bearing on your ability to protect and serve your community as law enforcement officials. Across the country, violence against police, coupled with street demonstrations, will escalate over time, placing law enforcement personnel in harm's way. So who or what is behind this escalation? Let me bring to your attention an organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center. They are an organization whose alleged purpose is to fight hate and bigotry. The Southern Poverty Law Center has become the so-called go-to experts on domestic hate groups and terrorists. Increasingly, their information is used by some state and federal agencies as a resource for intelligence on supposed hate groups and potential domestic terrorism. The Southern Poverty Law Center has a publication they send out to many police departments around the country. You may have seen it. Or perhaps you have been to one of their training seminars for various local and state police organizations. However, the John Birch Society has extensive information showing that the Southern Poverty Law Center has a different agenda than local police departments. William F. Jasper, senior editor of the New American Magazine, has extensive knowledge on the Southern Poverty Law Center and is a leading expert on terrorism.
During the 1960s, the most notorious violent terrorist group in the United States was the Weather Underground. One of the principal leaders of that organization was William Ayers, Bill Ayers, and his wife Bernadine Dorn. They led a rampage of bombings across the United States. Now, it's interesting that the Southern Poverty Law Center holds up Bill Ayers now as a leader in their teaching tolerance program. Bill Ayers has supposedly transformed himself into a distinguished professor of education. So now he is reforming our schools and teaching our children. But it's important to note that Bill Ayers is an unrepentant former terrorist. That is, he has said in numerous interviews that he does not regret his activities of the 1960s, nor does he repudiate terrorism per se. That is, he said he cannot rule out using it again in the future.
So, the Southern Poverty Law Center is against terrorism, yet uses and praises an unrepentant terrorist as a teaching source. What else are we missing about the Southern Poverty Law Center? On their website, they clearly state their purpose is to fight hate and bigotry. Many would assume this information is very unbiased and sticks with the facts. Looking at their targets, you will notice that it is always one-sided.
Dr. Carol Swain is a professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University. She has come under attack from Mark Potok of the SPLC, called her an apologist for white supremacists. Now, that is a very serious charge. She is also the author of a couple of books on white supremacism, so she is very much opposed to it and has written extensively on this. She says that she was attacked primarily because she opposes open borders immigration, and for that, she says, she was attacked by the Southern Poverty Law Center and smeared by them.
Accusations such as these are used throughout Southern Poverty Law Center's website and publications. So, instead of informing local officials on hate groups, they seem to be creating their own hate. If this alone wasn't disturbing enough, Southern Poverty Law Center's resources are increasingly being used by certain agencies of the federal government. One in particular is the Department of Homeland Security. In 2009, they issued a report on violent right-wing extremism. This caused many problems for the Department of Homeland Security, their Secretary, Janet Napolitano, and the Obama administration. This report targeted veterans returning from Afghanistan and Iraq as being prime candidates for involvement in right-wing extremism and terrorism here at home.
Many veterans groups rightfully got upset with this and put pressure on the administration, and the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary Napolitano was forced to sort of apologize. She said she was sorry that this report had offended veterans. But it went beyond that. It targeted people who are opposed to the United Nations, people who are opposed to abortion, and lumped them together with actual terrorists and extremists around the country.
Napolitano resisted attempts by members of Congress and the public to have the sources and provenance of this report released. Finally, under the Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, the department was forced to release the information.
And lo and behold, when it comes out, when it's released, we find a whole listing for the sources of this report come from website citations of the Southern Poverty Law Center. So in effect, what we see with this one report is that the SPLC has hijacked the Department of Homeland Security and transferred the SPLC's agenda directly into the official Department of Homeland Security, one of our largest bureaucracies and police agencies in the country, directly into the DHS, the Department of Justice, and the FBI.
There is an attempt by the Southern Poverty Law Center to make local police departments an enforcement arm of a political agenda. This is not the role of the police in America. As a former police officer, I do not appreciate deception or lies, and I well imagine that you feel the same way. As officers of the law, we have all taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, not a political agenda. The John Birch Society is in the process of reviving our Support Your Local Police campaign. Through our website, videos, and printed material, we expose the Southern Poverty Law Center's agenda. Citizens across America need to be informed on the importance of supporting their local police. The more you know about the Southern Poverty Law Center and the information they disseminate, the better prepared you and other police organizations will be to understand the impact this will have in your community. For further information, go to jbs.org and click the Support Your Local Police agenda page. Together, we can continue to protect and serve. Thank you.